Welcome to another episode of Strip Club's Uncensored podcast. I'm DJ Jack, and I'm going to be your host. Thank you all for coming out to the second episode of the new edition of my podcast and YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about something serious. I was going to be doing a brand new strip club review, but I got a friend that said that he might want to get in on this with me, so I'm going to wait on that. But instead, I wanted to talk about something I recently learned. I recently learned of another case, because there's something out there that strippers and waitresses and bartenders who are female and work at strip clubs have to deal with. But before we get into that, please guys, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe each and every video that you listen to, because if you do share and like them, guys, it will help me be able to grow and to reach more people. More importantly, guys, if you subscribe, you'll be able to find me every single time I put on a new video. I'm not exactly YouTube I'm not exactly what they want to be sharing, so it'll be easier for you to find me every time I put out a new video. So please don't forget to subscribe if you're new to my YouTube and podcast channel. I will gladly answer any questions or any comments you guys put on there, but we'll get to more of that later. All right, guys, there's something out there that women have been having to deal with for a long time, but recently it's been happening more and more to people that I know. We're talking about creeps and stalkers. That's right, guys, creeps and stalkers. It is a long time problem for women. I know they make movies about it, and there's TV show episodes and all that good stuff, but the reality is that these guys can be very dangerous. They can be, and the damage that they cause to women is very, very, it's very, very tragic. Okay, I recently ran into an old friend of mine. I hadn't seen her in 3 or 4 years. And out of the blue, she just disappeared. Out of the blue, she just disappeared. Now, I'm not going to say her name or anything, but out of the blue, she just disappeared. And when I saw her again, she was telling me that, it's because of this creep and this stalker that kept trying to follow me home. And I was like, what's going on? What happened? Here's the thing. This guy became obsessed with my friend. Okay, we're just going to call her Alice for this particular story, okay? So he became obsessed with this girl named Alice. And he was asking her out, asking her what she was doing. She's like, I can't do anything. I've got a boyfriend. I've got children. I can't be going out. Me coming out and working nights at the strip club, the few nights that she did, was just a way for her to make extra money so she could provide for her family. And, you can respect that. But this guy was becoming more and more obsessed. He wanted to spend more time with her. He wanted to see her all the time. And then finally, he literally crossed the line between being overzealous, for the lack of a better word, but he was a creep, to becoming a full-blown stalker, because he literally waited in the parking lot for her to get into her car. And the only reason why he knew it was her car is because one night he followed her to her car. Now, he was waiting for her to take off, and he was going to follow her home. Thankfully, a valet saw what was going on, blocked him in so he could not follow her home, because these guys can be very dangerous. More importantly, these guys have been known to be extremely dangerous to women. Some of you women might be out there thinking, I got a knife, I got a man, kill him, kill that guy. I'm pretty sure you guys all think so, but if these guys become crazy enough, nothing's going to stop them, okay? And the mental damage that these guys can cause to women, I've seen it before. Okay? So this is more of a warning and a bit of a story. I'm going to throw out a couple stories. I'm not going to be using people's real names at all. Okay? At all. No way, shape, or form. Okay? So, this particular girl, Alice. I called her Alice. After... she went home. She told her boyfriend. He's like, I'll kill him. And she's like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm just not going to go back and work at the club anymore. Yeah, she called in and she quit. And I can't blame her. That's one of the things that women don't realize when they come working at the strip clubs. And now, I know you might be thinking to yourself, he's not a stripper. He doesn't know. I have had, and I do have to this day, many female friends who are strippers. Okay? They are strippers. I do not think bad of them. I do not want bad shit to happen to them. So you have to understand that when I talk about a subject like this, sorry, I gotta reach for something. When I talk about a subject like this, I really mean it, and I want to share this information with you guys. If I had to pick one particular guy, I'm trying to remember his name, but I can't off the top of my head. And the only reason why I remember this guy is because I almost killed this motherfucker. Yeah. Okay, look. So there was a guy who was really obsessed with this one dancer. And he got obsessed, and he was always trying to go out with her. He got lap dances from her. He was always trying to push it too far. He was trying to throw money at her, be like, oh, just let me have sex with you, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, no. And eventually got to the point where he knew he couldn't follow her home because, other people were driving her home. Because she's like, oh, I'm staying at my friend's house. I'm doing this because, for her, the strip club at the end was just the beginning of the party. Sometimes she would party with her friends afterwards because they were all young and dumb and they wanted to have a good time. Like I said, you can't blame them for that. They're all young. Anyway, one day this guy decides that he'd had enough. He was going to get some revenge. He got a bunch of lap dances. And because he was a regular customer, she didn't think anything of it. So she's like, okay, he wants a bunch of lap dances. It's okay. You don't have to pay me up front because you've gotten a lot of lap dances before. Well, this time he refused to pay. It became a whole big issue at the end of the night. She was about ready to punch him in the face. Because as far as she was concerned, he owed her $400. But he didn't want to pay. So what can I say? Nothing you can say, because we can't beat up somebody for their money. And of course, we're talking about the club where I was working at the time. Managers probably could have beat him up for the money. So at the end of the night, I was walking to my car. Next thing I know, let's just call him a stalker, okay? And he stops the car she's in with the two friends. And he's like, no, you can't fucking leave. No, you gotta stay. You can't do this to me. And it became like, oh, you don't know who I am. I'm a dangerous guy. I came around and I was like, hey, man, you need to back up. Let her go. This guy was drunk and he was with some friends. And it became something I didn't want it to be. It became a standoff. And that's what it really became because he was upset. And I was the one idiot standing in the way of what he wanted. Now, if anybody knows anything, that is the worst place to be, is between some guy and what he really wants. I backed up towards my car because, she and the girls had driven out of the parking lot and he was walking towards me. Thankfully, I always come prepared. I did have a gun in my backpack, but I wasn't going to pull it out because it didn't seem like it was a gun type of problem. But I did and still do have several weapons in the back of my trunk in case shit pops off. This particular night, I knew for a fact that I had a crowbar, a mini crowbar right there. So I grabbed my mini crowbar and I swung it at this dude's face because he was getting way too close. And at that point, I wasn't going to be like, hey, back up. He was getting close because he wanted to do something. Now, I missed his face by inches, okay? And not many inches to boot, okay? I literally almost killed the guy because he was fucking stupid. Next thing you know, his friends came in. It became a whole, I swung at him. And it was about getting rid of the point where I was actually going to have to take that extra step and hit somebody in the face. Now, I know you guys are out there probably thinking, yeah, you should have hit him. You should have hit him because, he was doing this, he was doing that. It wouldn't have mattered. Now, I was outnumbered 3-1, and they were kind of drunk. And the crowbar is kind of excessive force. And trust me, a cop would say it's excessive force. So, Thankfully, the valet saved my ass. And as I was driving, one of these idiots tried to throw a cinder block through my car. But as I said, I keep a gun in the car. I pulled mine out, pointed at it in the face, and I told him, I was like, you throw it, you die. He dropped the cinder block. Thankfully, I didn't have to shoot him in the face. And I drove off. And this whole situation could have been avoided if this guy hadn't decided to become a creep and a stalker. This is just one incident where a guy happened to be there to stop the problem. Recently, I learned from a different friend that as she was going home, she'd worked a little bit later than she used to, because she works day shift and she's gone by 7. She's gone before 7 o'clock. This particular day, she decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna work a little bit later. And this one guy who was obsessed with her happened to notice that she was working later. So he was waiting and waiting, and then he followed her to her car, watched her leave, followed her as she was getting home. She happened to realize that the same car was behind her the entire time. Thankfully, she recognized the danger she was in. She called the police, and it turns out this guy is actually an old friend of hers. Who just got out of a real bad relationship and just became obsessed. What can you say? The cop set him straight, and she made it very clear, like, I'm going to shoot you, motherfucker, next time I see you. Now, this girl is driving around with a gun, which is her right in the state of Texas. But what right that guy did not have was to force this sense of fear onto her. Now, this is the warning I want to deliver to all the girls that want to be strippers, or the girls that are out there that are strippers, and you've got a guy who is becoming slightly obsessed with you, or is being a real big creep. These guys don't see anything wrong with following you home. These guys don't see anything wrong with trying to get your number from somebody, or she's got a real private Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I gotta find it. These guys will make multiple accounts just so they can try to get in on somebody's private Instagram, Facebook. It don't matter. They want to be part of this wonderfulness that they can't be allowed into. And these creeps and these guys become stalkers. They become obsessed when you're working. They become obsessed to find out what you're going to do. Oh, you know what? Oh, you're going to go do this? Hey, well, maybe I can meet you there. These are these type of guys. And the reason why it gets like that is because when you're a stripper, some of these guys think after a while that because they got a bunch of lap dances, they're giving you money, they think that they own you. More than anybody else, these guys think that they own you. Because as far as they're concerned, they're paying for your car, they're paying for your rent, they're paying for your new clothes. Oh, you went on a trip to Vegas? Oh, well, they're paying. As far as they're concerned, they're paying for all of this stuff. And in their mind, it gives them a sense of, like, entitlement. And you denying them, you pushing them away, gives them this idea that, oh, you know what? She is a bitch. She doesn't deserve me. She doesn't deserve my money. Why the fuck did I spend all this money on her? Fuck this bitch. Blah, blah, blah. And they will go off in every single direction but the right one, thinking that you owe them. That you have to do what they want. That you owe them something. And they're going to get it. That's in their mind. They think that they're going to get it. And you have to be careful. If you start going down the path and these guys are starting to get way too clingy, mostly some of these guys become what do not get offended by this term. Okay, it's not my term. I got this from a stripper. Okay, she says the first thing any stripper has to look out for when it comes to a creep who will become a stalker is that he becomes a cuddle rapist. Yes, you heard the term right. Cuddle rapist. It's, again, not my term. I didn't come up with it. Strippers came up with it. They said that these guys were the creepy ones that hug you way too long, way too often. And they do it for stupid shit. Oh my God, you got your license from the DMV. Give me a hug. You know, those type of guys. The guys that, oh my God, you got your nails done, and they want to give you a hug. These type of guys are the crazy motherfuckers you have to be careful with. Because these guys are the ones that become stalkers, and they can become a dangerous issue. Because trust me, if some guy is following you around and trying to find out where you live, it's going to affect you mentally. Because you're not going to feel safe. You're always going to be worried. You're always going to be looking over your shoulder. You're going to be, oh my God, is that car following me? Yeah, you will literally fall into that mindset because a lot of people do. I mean, what can I say? You have people literally following you. It's like, it's not paranoia if somebody's actually behind you. And I don't want to use the term PTSD, okay? I'm not using PTSD. I'm just saying, there's mental scarring that comes with these type of idiots. Okay? So, ladies, you have to understand, if your customer is becoming a cuddle rapist, I'm going to stop using that term. If this guy is becoming extra clingy, and you could feel that he's become extra clingy, or he's inviting himself to shit that you're doing, you really need to make a decision if you still want this guy in your work life, because he wants to be part of your life, your social life. He wants to be part of who you really are. And the truth is, you don't want that to begin with. So you have to be careful, because these guys don't see a line after a while. They don't see a line, and more importantly, they're never going to see a line. You've got to nip that shit in the bud. So, I had a friend. She passed away a few years ago. And she roughly had the same problem. There was this particular asshole that was becoming really clingy. He was becoming very creepy. And he started trying to follow her home. And she was going to blow him off. And then he happened to be like, well, I know you were sick for a while, and you need to pay for your car. It took me a second to remember what it was. Yeah, she wanted to pay for her car. She'd been 2 months behind. So he offered to not only pay the 2 months she was behind, he offered to pay for the 6 months in advance for her car payment. So they could be like, oh yeah, I fell 2 months behind, but I just jumped 6 months ahead. She was like, okay, he's not that bad, it's okay. Well, this guy started paying for her car, and then he started paying for this, and then he started paying for that, and then one day she invited him to her house. It was not the best thing she could have done. Okay? It wasn't the best thing she could have done. Because one night he gets drunk, and she had told him, like, you know what, you're too creepy, you're an asshole, I don't want to see you anymore. Well, this motherfucker knew where she lived. Then that became an issue, because at that point, he was literally trying to talk to her, and he was banging on the door of her apartment, just banging, like, I want to talk to you. And she's like, no, I'm gonna call the police. Thankfully, her neighbors were Cubans, and all that they saw was this idiot was trying to force his way into this girl's house. I mean, they really didn't know her. She hated their music, but these guys came over next door and told the guy that if he wouldn't leave right then and there, they were going to beat the living shit out of him. That was more than enough to get him to get the fuck out of there. And the next time he showed up, one of the Cuban guys, the neighbors, was like, oh, I remember you, bitch. You got to get the hell out of here before I kick your ass. And it almost became an issue till he realized he was outnumbered. It turns out these two guys were cousins. And they had other relatives living in that same apartment complex, and they were like, "Oh, one of the guys took a picture of the guy's face with his phone. It was a lot like, well, if I see you around here, I'm gonna spread your face around. If my cousins see you, they're gonna know. They're gonna jump you. Told him in English. Told this guy this shit in English. And the only reason why I know that is because she called my friend and bitched, they threatened me. They said they're gonna give their cousins my picture, so if they see me again, they're gonna beat me up. He's like, this is all your fucking fault, and thankfully she had some help. But not everybody has help when it comes to these creepy stalkers. And you all have to know that if it's an issue, if it's a problem, if you think it's a problem, you can't just simply blow it off. Okay? You can't simply blow it off. If you do, you leave yourself open to the problem of it escalating. Okay? That's always the biggest problem. It could escalate into something more. So if you think that there's an issue, if you think some guy's becoming too creepy, you think some guy might be becoming a problem, you have to let other people know. You have to. These guys cannot be stopped by you and you alone. I wish that was the case. Wish it was the case. But it's not. You have to literally, be an asshole to these guys, because they're not gonna be stopped by somebody they think owes them. Because as far as they're concerned, they own you. They own a part of you, and they want to own all of you. So they're not going to be threatened by what you think. They're not going to be threatened by what you say. Okay? You've got to nip it in the bud. And you do that by telling other people. Tell the managers at your club. Tell the bartenders at your club. Tell your other regulars at the club. Tell the DJ. Tell the floor guy. Tell security. Tell the other dancers. So if this idiot tries anything, somebody's going to see it. Somebody's going to know. And that guy's probably going to get his ass kicked before he gets out the fucking door. Ladies, you have to understand, working in a strip club, the chances of you running into a creep who becomes a stalker is way bigger than any other job out there. I have known plenty of girls that had to deal with these guys. And understand that if it happens to you, please let people know. People will want to help you. And more importantly, people are going to want to kick that dude's ass. Alright guys, thank you for listening to this episode of Strip Club's Uncensored podcast and YouTube channel. Again, guys, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. Please don't forget to like each and every single video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. If you do, it will make it easier for you to find me. Every single week I put out a new video because I'm not exactly YouTube friendly. Okay, I'm not going to be recommended to anybody. But please, if you share it with your friends, share it with your family, particularly, your crazy uncle. It will help me grow, and if I grow, I'll be able to do more and more podcasts. I'm going to try to get out a podcast every single week, either Tuesday or Wednesday morning. So you guys keep an eye out. I will be putting the information on my Instagram. The information will be down below to find my Instagram. And if you have any questions or there's a subject you want to talk about, please, my email is down there. You can send it straight to me. I'll be the only one that reads it. But just don't ask me which girls put out in the city of Austin. I am not a pimp. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. One more time, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It helps me grow. It helps me make new videos that you're going to enjoy. More importantly, it'll make it easier for you to find me. I'm DJ Jag, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.